let's talk about something else about Rivals. You're also a top 10 player in the game.
Yeah, I play the Clairen.
We haven't actually talked about your gameplay at all. All right, well, I know I told you this, but for anybody who's just tuning in, the idea of these is not a, like, I'm not going to be grilling you about your competitive, like, I'll ask questions, but I'm not going to be grilling you about, like, all right, I need the hard details on, like, your life story and this and that. But I want a chance to talk to my friends, and I figured this is a good way to do it. Anybody who doesn't know you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name's SBS, Stephen Bruce Sabansky. I am the esports manager for Rivals of Aether. And before that, I was a geologist doing tournaments on the side for fun for about 4 or 5 years. Hard to keep track anymore.
The pre-esports life is just a blur.
Yeah, the pre-esports life is really just a blur, especially after this year. But yeah, so I ran tournaments for fun as a hobby, fell in love with Rivals, and ended up working for him.
Because I know you've been with Rivals since February, like officially been with Rivals. When did full time start for you?
Full time started 2 weeks after my birthday on August 31st. So
that's a lot later than I expected. Okay, all right.
Yeah, it was just a matter of timing, really, because they had planned, to have me fly out to all the summer events and, run those and kind of do that as most of my work. But then,
rest in peace, any events in general.
Yeah. So it turned into a lot of, organizing like ROCS and RCS and streaming those events. And I did about 10 hours a week for the first, 6, 7 months?
Sure.
And then once we saw the release of the definitive edition and creatures coming out in September, it was kind of like a mutual thought that it's like, okay, it's time. Let's go full time. We've got more things happening. So
you and I have talked about it before, but I really love that you guys are turning Rivals into an IP and not just it's one game. And the fact that Rivals is going to be a universe and there's going to be lore, and you guys have brought in like a real person for comics and
and the comic is looking awesome.
Is it? What can you tell us? What can you tell us?
I really can't tell you anything.
Just
on
that.
It, but,
just that it is looking good. Okay.
I've seen finished colored pages, and it's awesome.
Do we have an ETA, or is that under wraps too?
I can't speak for them. I'm very not involved in that project.
All right.
I have, access to the conversation and to some of the products that come out of it. But like when it comes to having any sort of actual interaction with, decision making, like I'm just kind of on the sidelines. But I can say what I've seen is really cool.
Awesome.
It makes me really, really happy to see that our lore is getting a nice overhaul, because like the things that they're doing with it is awesome.
Cool. I'm very excited, which is very funny to me because for a long time I think I've played through story mode once with one character, and then I was like, I'm not gonna keep doing this. I'm sorry, Dan. Like, it's just not there. And so I went from making fun of like, here's this game that I really love that pretends to have lore, and then you guys are like, we're having professional comics made. I'm like, I didn't know I needed that, but I really need that now.
Yeah, I've never been excited to learn about the Rivals history until I started, seeing. I think it really started with the voice acting from the Sylvanos trailer at Genesis that one year. I think it was Genesis 5, maybe 6. It might have been Genesis 6. But they had the voice acting in the trailer, and I wasn't working with them then. But I was just like, it kind of blew me away, because then they had the Eliana comic book like style trailer as well, and it's just like it went from Rano that had nothing but gameplay, which ironically is like a more popular YouTube trailer because you don't have to wait for all the story to come out.
Sure.
And then it just evolved into voice acting and art slides, and like it's actually interesting, which is cool because when the game came out of early access in 2017, I remember playing the story mode and I was like, this is really something. Screenshotted a few of the slides and used those as emotes and memes.
Right. And that's kind of their legacy right now. And so it'll be very interesting to see it go from that to like, oh, this is like legit, and we're getting the Rivals, like obviously Rivals 2, but then there was the RPG, or I forget exactly the gameplay style.
We actually haven't announced what the 3D models are for. So
Oh,
there's
okay.
no confirmation what it is yet.
Very cool. I won't say anything else then.
For all you know, it could be a gacha game on your phone.
God, if you guys make full-fledged 3D models and are like, this is entirely pay to win DLC gacha, that would be the funniest thing in the world to me.
It would be honestly so Dan. Like that would be a Dan thing to do.
That would be the April Fool's 1 year. We spent 3 years making 3D models in order to make you have to pay to get your 5-star Clairen. Like,
yeah. But look at it. The detail is amazing.
It's immaculate.
You're gonna want this.
It's a gacha game that you don't play on the phone either. You have to play it on your computer, or else it won't render.
Exactly. Yeah. The other game that you mentioned that like we teased in the end of the Rivals Direct 2 with the Fleet the Fox, which is in it. I can now name that character because
yep.
they've named her. That game is looking really cool too.
That's the one I meant by RPG, but I don't know what the gameplay style of that is. That's just internally what I've thought of it as.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like when I saw it, because like I didn't have access to all this stuff back then because I wasn't, full time. When I saw it, the first thing I thought was, oh my god, they're doing like an RPG of some sort. Kind of like, I don't know if you've seen Sea of Stars. I think it's like Chrono Trigger style.
Okay.
Gameplay. And I was like, could it be something like that? Because, one thing you do is you run into someone like in Paper Mario and then all of a sudden you're fighting people.
Yeah.
But like I was pleasantly surprised when I was able to actually see some stuff on it, which obviously I can't share.
Right.
Like
I'm not going to push for you on that.
Yeah. It's going to be really cool. I'm more excited for that than I am for anything else right now.
Really?
I think. Yeah.
I feel like that says a lot considering how much is being worked on. So
yeah.
It was very funny watching that trailer, and like people started joking about like, oh, we're getting a Rivals extended universe, and by the end of the trailer people are like, oh, we're actually getting a Rivals extended universe. Like we were joking about this in chat at the beginning and now it's just here.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's really exciting. There's a lot of stuff that as esports manager I see it, and it's just like, even when esports for this game is dead, there's going to be so many other projects like that we have going on that like there's just going to be things to do. It's exciting.
So in February you were hired to be the esports manager of Rivals of Aether, and now you are full-time as of, we said it earlier, August. What does being an esports manager mean? What do you do as a general day-to-day?
So day-to-day right now, especially right now, is weird. It's like COVID times make my day-to-day like just so weird. Like I'm in this weird.
What a time. You were hired in February and then 2 months later we're just like, nope, sorry, there are no events, everything's online.
And it's just like I'm in this like constant mental gymnastics of like, I am working a dream job, but also I hate being cooped up in my house. And so like the motivation is like a roller coaster for me. So like day to day is hard to really say, but in general, it's a lot of community stuff like what George does.
It's just very specific on the esports scene instead of general.
Exactly, yeah. And I did kind of like dip my toes in the general community stuff, especially when Creatures was first coming out. So I was like helping out on the general end on both games because, we had split resources. But as of right now, it's mostly RCS stuff.
Okay.
RCS and a bunch of just like random projects. I did proofreading on the Pocket Paragon stuff that they sent us. Like they did like proofs for their Kickstarter, and like I would go through and like edit some of those or give suggestions, and they could take them or leave them, that kind of thing. Be like, oh well, this character should be on this stage, not this one, because this is actually their home. Little things like that. Like a lot of proofreading, a lot of blog writing, a lot of planning, event stuff. Like you name it, and it's just kind of like I could do it. It's
Well, and I
kind of
feel like that is the curse and blessing of being on a small team or a small game. It's the same as like working on a small indie game is probably very similar to like working with with a nonprofit or something where even if that's not technically your job, we just need someone to do this thing. And if there's not an esports to manage at that time, you just are like, all right, I got to do proofreading for our collaboration with this
right,
game.
which
All
is
right,
fine
cool.
because like I mentioned earlier, but I'm a geologist. Like I came from geology, so I've got a bachelor's of science. I've got a BS in geosciences with an emphasis on geology. So I've written countless, scientific papers or
Sure.
reports on things that I've worked on, and edited plenty of those things. Read countless reports coming in when I was working contracted to the state. So like I've got a big background in just writing things too,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
so like I have the ability to do different things, which is really good. Like that's kind of the role I need to fill is work on overflow stuff as well as esports stuff.
Makes sense. Is there anything that you are, I mean, I don't know what you can announce or say, but I know that January is going to be the RCS finals.
Right.
Um, is there anything that you guys are like, I'm sure you guys are working on things past that, but is there anything like big, or is it just like right now you are seeing what happens until we can meet in person again?
There's TOs that want to start planning things very roughly, and I'm sure we would love to get involved in that as long as things are safe, but
Right.
it's so up in the air that right now our focus is just on January
Hmm.
while also keeping an eye on things. Like we're not ruling anything out, but we're definitely not hard committing to anything yet, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, makes total
So like,
sense.
the feelers are out there. It's just like I've had a voice call with one TO about something that they are working on, but they're like, yeah, nothing is actually cemented. This is
Because
the
we
rough
can't.
plans, and
Yeah.
if everything is good by this date, then we can announce things. But if it's not, then we just scrap it. And it's like whether or not it'd be another RCS season, hard to say. I know I personally would love just to keep doing RCS for ever and ever and ever, but like at any rate, like even if it's not a full season, I'm sure we would get involved somehow when events come back.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's just really hard to say because we just don't have an end in sight yet.
Actually, do you want to talk a little bit about RCS finals?
Yeah,
Because
sure.
I feel like this is a big deal for Rivals right now. Um,
Yeah.
I was telling someone the other day on stream that the last few RCSs have been some of the biggest Rivals events ever.
Hmm.
Because they were asking about like what is the growth of Rivals right now. And I feel like it's all culminating in the RCS finals, and it's the first time I've seen an online tournament for Rivals that's like multi-day, and you're doing side events and like other than the fact that we're all at home, this feels like a real event. And that's cool because we don't get a lot of those.
Yeah. Like actually when planning this event, it feels like planning a real in-person event. Like
Hmm.
when it came to planning like, the other four tournaments, a lot of it is like you get an overarching theme and the tournaments are kind of like almost like a copy paste of each other once you
Yeah.
actually get these things going. Then you just need to work on little things like getting commentators and getting a stream setup, working on improving the quality of your stream
Yep.
setup, which we've
That's like
been
any
gradually
states
doing.
or regional or regions like monthly or weekly Smash tournaments was always like
Yeah,
takes a lot of
uh,
effort for the first few, and then after that it starts being like, all right, just do the same thing again.
yeah, pretty much. Like the big thing that I've noticed over the four tournaments, I mean, that jumped past ROCS because ROCS was like it was like a sprint. We weren't sure if
No one had any idea what
offline
was going
events
on.
would
Yeah.
come back, so we were just like, okay, every 2 weeks we're running a big thing. So it's just like it was like a biweekly. It felt like this is just part of the grind. And then we get to the elemental ones, and it's like, okay,
I like that
we were
these are
still
monthly and not bi-weekly. Yeah.
saying it it is a lot, especially when you're doing the VODs for them. And like, dude, I swear, you blink and it was the next tournament. Like that kind of happened with RCS Water for me too. It's just like, how has it already been a month since
I mean,
we're
and I wasn't even involved with all of the ROCS stuff. But there was times where you would be like, "Hey Sam, like, are you free this Saturday for commentary?" And I'd be like, "I feel like I just did commentary for you guys. Like, what is? I just talked about furry animals. Like, what's going on right now?"
Yeah, it's crazy. Like even the European and the Australian people were like, "This is too much." Like two times a month for a big online tournament is just too much. And I'm like, I get that. Trust me, I do. So, when it came to the like slowing down and spreading out over the first month, like we were still in the ROCS gear for RCS Fire because we were also, working on getting definitive out.
Sure.
And like the default was like, oh yeah, our OCS finals was $500 of first place because originally it was going to be a travel voucher to whoever won that, and they would be getting the travel voucher to,
go to Genesis or go to whatever.
Yeah, we were going to fly to Genesis, and so we're like, okay, yeah, we'll just give 500 to first again, and like it didn't really click to us at first. And by the time the event came and passed, it obviously made some people upset. So
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, we had to readjust, and it's like, we recognize that, but like just like everyone else, we're adapting to a fully online life right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so Dan added money, we upped the prize pools, we made it so enough people in top 8 could get paid out because 500 wasn't enough for even top 8. Now every Rivals tournament for North America has a $2,000 prize pool, thanks half to Dan and half to community. Mm-hmm. And we make sure all 8 people get paid out that make top 8. And that was like our first improvement. And then it's like, well, our stream overlay isn't that great. So we upgrade that and we use the Redeck one, but then we put our own twist on it. But then we're like, well, what if we also streamed Steam? And so then we, branched out and we're like multicasting to Twitch and Steam at the same time.
I didn't know you were doing that.
Yeah, we since November we have them actually. It was really, really big for the fighting game sale because during the fighting game sale, we actually had the RCS like on the same day.
I'm sure,
and so we streamed RCS during our block of the live stream of the fighting game sale. And so like we had thousands of people watching it from there while we had hundreds in Twitch. But like those are just like improvements, right? Mm-hmm. But the original question was like, it feels like this multi-day thing is a real event. And like while I'm setting it up, it's like, okay, we got a plan for commentators for this event, this event, this event. We
tetherball and workshop and doubles and singles.
I actually need to think about times, like how long an event's going to take this time. Mm-hmm. Like, because before it's like, oh yeah, it starts at 4.
And then we just finish when we finish. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But it's just like, okay, we have 4 events, but we want to stream it all. So now we actually need to think about time slots and like talking to TOs and, getting the workshop TOs involved.
It's like a real lot. Yeah.
Cool. So I actually played random in our last local season because I felt like that was a thing that our region was lacking, was the ability to adjust to new things on the fly.
You did it the entire season though, right?
Right. For 3 months. Well, just short of 3 months because COVID hit right at the end of March.
I feel like we half the questions I asked can be answered with, and then COVID happened.
Yeah, exactly. But so I did random for a full season, and it was awesome for me, and it was awesome for the community. Like I did it at first just because I wanted to shake things up. I did an ABSA season before that, like all ABSA. I was like, okay, well, let's try random. That'd be fun. See how well I can do. And like it helped me with that skill as much as it helped them adapting to that skill, which is super cool. Like by the beginning of it, Chompers, when I played him, got kind of handled because it's just like, okay, well, his biggest weakness is adjusting to a new thing. Like he comes in with a game plan, right? And he gets hit by 3 different characters, and it's like,
I know I personally struggle a lot when someone switches characters on me.
Yeah, by the end of it, he was like one of the biggest threats to me. It was down to like the last tournament decided who was number 1 on our PR because of it.
I didn't realize that. Wait, who won then?
That was me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
If there was 2 more tournaments, then it could have gone his way for sure. It was like I had 1 more set than him, and then I won all like the special tournaments.
Okay.
So like it was like dead even. It was really close. Mm-hmm. But
speaking of playing random, I know that you were going through on after definitive came out, you were going through to try to hit masters with every single character.
Yeah.
Uh, and if I remember, is there a achievement on Steam for doing that, or I know you get like a
No.
thing on your name.
Yeah. So originally there was nothing for doing that. After I did it, I was like, I feel like there should be something for this. And so I brought up the idea to Elian and Dan and Trevor. And Dan's like, yeah, that'd be kind of cool. So like now if you get everything to masters, you get a crown on like for an icon for like the top left of you, which is
Okay,
neat because like it actually rewards you. And now people like HKP and there's a South American player I think that has done it.
I
Like
was gonna
have that.
ask that. That's why I was asking. I thought there was an achievement. Are you the first person to have done that?
Yes,
You can
by
definitively say that.
absolutely.
Okay,
I can definitively say it because I grinded that, and the only other person that was close to me was HKP, and I think they finished it a month after me.
so there's like 3 total.
Right now, yeah, but there's others coming. Like Menace is getting close.
Mhm.
We have a local person that's working on it, and Codecracker posted his second Masters. So like, I think the crown just like is really cool because it's incentivizing people to play other characters.
So I wanted to ask, and you actually kind of brought this up earlier. So you said you've been running tournaments for about 5 years. Before Rivals, how did you get in? Did you play any games? Or no, you mentioned Smash 4. You played Smash 4 before Rivals. How did you
Yeah.
get into like competitive games or esports in general?
So I played every Smash game from 64 since it came out, but I didn't
Competitively
get
or just like for
competitive.
fun?
No, just for fun. I didn't
Okay.
get competitive until Smash 4.
Okay.
And so like I played Brawl online against friends. I was always the best of my friends. I played my brother. Like we played the game like
God
crazy.
bless you for dealing with Brawl online, by the way, before
I
everybody
found
had
one
Ethernet.
friend. I found one friend that I could play against, and it was actually pretty good.
Just that one friend.
Um, yeah, exactly. Because like yeah, Brawl Online was terrible. You tried to join their lobbies and stuff. Like I think I finished a grand total of 2 games while trying to do like 4-player lobbies or like just the online in general.
Mhm.
But against that one friend, we just played like almost every night.
Okay,
And
sure.
I didn't know tech. I didn't know anything special about it. But
Sure.
so I never got into the competitive stuff until after college. Smash Four. It was like my senior year or something like that. I found Smash Four. It was called the Salty Pueblo. It was a Tucson tournament that was a regional for Project M
Okay.
and for Smash 4. And I think Project M did way better than Smash 4 there in terms of entrance, but
Well,
so that
that
was
makes
my
sense for
first
the
one.
state that you're talking about. At least
Yeah, and
at that time as well.
I went 0-6 in round robin pools, but everyone made it out. And then I switched to DDD and I actually won a couple sets,
There you go.
which was
There you
cool.
go.
Yeah.
I won 1 set at my first tournament and I entered 2 games. So I went 0-2 in one and 1-2 in the other.
Nice. Yeah, from there, it was like I would just go to the weekly tournaments in Tucson, and then
Mhm.
eventually, like I became the Smash Fest house. So people
I did the same thing.
like
Yeah.
I'd have 18 people in my house playing Smash, and
Oh,
it'd be
absolutely the same thing for me
kind of
then. Yeah.
sweaty and gross, but like it would be almost every day.
Mhm.
Eventually, I started helping running the tournaments, and then when the main guy wasn't there, I would take over for it, and like I just kind of became like a community leader for Tucson for Smash Four. And
Okay.
then eventually I ran into Rivals.
I was gonna say, how did you learn about Rivals then? Was it when the game came out, or was it like later through someone
um,
else?
so the first time I heard about it, I actually thought it was really stupid.
Okay,
Um,
that's fair.
I was
I won't tell
doing
Dan.
my geology field camp, which is basically like a senior project.
Mhm.
It was summer of 2015, and I went to southern Utah, and they had a Smash scene up there. And so I would drive like 40 minutes on a Tuesday to go play in St. George while my like dorm that I was living in for 5 weeks was in Cedar City.
Okay. Mhm.
And there was this guy there named Finn, really cool dude, but he would always talk about Rivals, and I could never stop thinking about like how stupid it is you would want to play a Smash clone.
Oh
Like,
no!
why would you want to do that, right?
One of those
Um,
people.
I didn't attack him for it. I just kind of in my mind I was like, why would you want to do that? And I played those weeklies. I finished my field camp and I came home. And then on Halloween of that same year of 2015, I was drinking because my roommate was throwing a party. I had a couple friends come over. I was like, well, I'm not going to leave the house while there's people I don't know in my house. So I had a couple people join.
Sure.
And my friend was like, let's play Rivals. So I bought it and we played while drinking. And
You literally bought it just for that. Okay.
yeah, it was like, let's play it and see if who's better.
If it's any
And
good, sure. Yeah.
And eventually, like, I played more Rivals and less Smash 4 and more Rivals and less Smash 4 until it became like I was the guy saying, hey, everyone, let's play Rivals instead of Smash at the Smash Fest house.
It's really interesting that you literally were just like, oh, whatever. I guess I'll try this game as a fun party thing. And then slowly it became your main game.
I had no idea that would change my life. Like, it's like I think about that now and it's just like,
and very truly, not just in a like, oh, it's my favorite game now. It's like it really changed your life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. My career is now this video game that I picked up to play at a party while I was drinking. Like, it's really weird to think about, and it's kind of cool.
What was your first like Rivals national experience? I know you were the person who ran Heatwave, which is like the big grassroots Rivals major. I can't imagine that was like the first one that you did though.
No, so I don't talk about this tournament very much because I am not proud of it, and I didn't want it to be part of the RCS. My friend that got me to
be part of the RCS.
No, it was supposed to be. I was working at Walmart, and it was supposed to be a fun side event to Rewired 2016.
Oh yeah, I remember Rewired.
Yeah, I ran that tournament, and it was a nightmare. Okay. My friend contacted George and Dan without me knowing, and asked for it to be part of the circuit. And I had a desktop that didn't work with Xbox controllers, and that was the only setup. And then I had someone else who promised to bring theirs, but then they decided, I don't want to leave my laptop out because I'm afraid it's going to get stolen. I'm like, and they told me that right before the tournament started.
I'm not going to lie. I've been to Rivals tournaments like this.
Yeah. And like, so it's coming from someone that was like, used to running tournaments for Smash 4 and being part of that scene. I entered 5 brackets that day.
Oh my God.
I did awful in all except for Rivals. But Rewired, I don't want to put too much blame on them, but they didn't know where to put me. And I showed up hours early to find out where to set up. And they ended up throwing Rivals into the hallway.
Okay.
So I have LBO, Mr. L's, Tandoori.
Oh my God. So this was like stacked.
Yeah. They came out because Mr. L's was there for Rewired.
Because it was, for anybody who's not aware, Rewired was a big tournament for Melee and PM as well. And probably Smash 4. I guess I knew about it because of Melee and PM though.
Yeah, it was big for Smash 4 as well. LBO drove down from Vegas because he wanted the free RCS points because I think he was one of the people getting flown out to Genesis based on RCS points.
Based on the season, he would have been like top 3 seed too.
Yep.
Okay.
And then Els was someone I had to run because, like I said, we were out in the venue. We were out in the hallway of the venue.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go through and yell out names. And I eventually found Mr. Els. He won the tournament from winners.
Makes sense.
While having delayed inputs on his GameCube controller. He's a champion.
Makes less sense, but holy crap, let's go. Good job, Forrest.
The second PC that one of our players brought was really laggy on GameCube inputs. So he beat LBO twice in winners, finals, and grands with delayed inputs because he's a monster.
That's insane. So you guys did have more than one setup at least.
Yeah, we ended up getting a second one because I begged and pleaded someone to drive home and get one.
Yeah. How many entrants?
It was about 26, I would say.
Oh my God, like 26 people on 2 setups.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to take so long.
Yeah, I don't remember how many people actually played, but I do remember I had to run it on Challenge because they didn't even give me Smash UG access. So it was a wild
RCS
ride.
Event on Challenge. in a
Yeah.
hallway. Oh my god, this is a nightmare. Okay.
Yeah, I was like in shambles by the end of it. I felt terrible. The tournament was rough. I ended up getting fourth by losing to Els and Tandoori.
They were both
And
top
if you've
50
heard of
players at the
Anetic,
time. Yeah.
I actually met and played him there, which is pretty
I'm
cool.
not familiar with who that is.
He got top 8 at Heatwave 1 with Ori.
Okay.
It was terrible. Like I said, it was supposed to be I got off of work from Walmart, which I did. I was supposed to drive over and run a side event.
And run a small 10-person side event, and then they're like, hey, it's
with the Smash
RCS
4
now.
people we've been playing with. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I have people coming down from Vegas with an Xbox controller, and it's like, I don't know how to do that. And I even tried because the drivers were impossible to find for Windows 7. And it was the first time I ever experienced Xbox controllers. And I even tried getting it working, but I was like, okay, I have a friend that says he's bringing a computer, so I'll be fine. And everything just turned on its head, and it was a nightmare. But I didn't stop there, and I kept running like occasional tournaments and like with the Smash 4 events until eventually I had a monthly in Phoenix and a weekly in Tucson and cups in the Ice House, including, LBO, like all the ice crew. Like they would tune into our events every week. And they were the big reason that Heatwave got the boost that it did.
Cool.
Because like they saw that I was putting in work. They saw that I was, passionate. And my first tournament that I ever went to that was a national tournament that wasn't one that I ran was Bigger Bout. And so I met Cup.
Okay.
Yeah. I met Cups at Bigger Bout, and like he was a huge, huge like influence to getting AZ to where it is now. And Heatwave 1 wasn't without problems either.
Sure.
Like it was a 14-hour one-day tournament. It's very long.
Yep, I've done those.
But it was a blast. It was killer.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was.
How many heat waves have there been now?
3.
There's been 3. This would have been the 4th, but obviously canceled because of COVID.
Correct.
This was going to be the first one I was trying to make it out to. So
Heatwave 4 has very good plans for it that I'm going to use whenever
you can use those
whenever
plans.
I
Sure.
can.
Yeah.
We had 10 total brackets at Heatwave 3, and I always want to outdo it.
Got it. At least 11 brackets then.
Yeah, I posted on Twitter that like it's like exhausting or whatever, and LBO was just like, "Shut up! You know you love it. You keep doing it."
Right. I think that's every TO. Every TO I've ever talked to at the end of like a national, they're just like, "Oh my god, I'm exhausted. I will never do this again." And then like 2 months later, they're like, "All right, so I'm working Shine now, and I'm gonna be doing." For me, it's I'm always exhausted, and then I'm like, okay, so I was a senior volunteer for this tournament. All right, now I'm going to be the head volunteer coordinator at Locher City, or like at this or at that. And it's just like, I can't. I keep saying that I'm just going to only do like commentary and other stuff, and I just keep coming back to running events. It's just how it goes.
You finish an event and you're like, never again. And then 2 days later, you're like, I need that dopamine rush again, so I'm going to do it again.
Yeah, I will never do that again. And then like you start thinking about plans. I know I've done my big tournament that I not solo ran, that I was the co-coordinator for, was Push More Buttons. We've done that one twice, one in 2016, one in 2018. We've had Rivals at it.
I didn't know that was you that ran Push More Buttons.
Yep. It was me and Josh, who now works for Panda Global.
Yeah. Awesome.
But so I was like one of the 2 head TOs for that. And every year afterwards, we're just like, oh my God, we're exhausted. We are never going to do this again. And then like, it just didn't work out to do it in 2019, but we definitely wanted to. Like it just started happening about like, we were saying we were never going to do this again. And now we're just like, but what if we did? What if we did do it again?
You go like, okay, so that was like great. I don't want to do it again though, but wait, I could have improved on this.
Yeah, yes.
What would happen if we did this? And then before you know it, you're planning a whole event.
Yeah. And it's not just this theoretical, like, oh, there's a couple things I could have done better. It's now way like, all right, we're going to make it 2 days instead of 1, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. It's like, oh, okay. I just can't keep doing this. All right, so you did Heatwave. You did a bunch of other stuff. I know you did. So like your big thing a lot was like regional and like really bumping up your region. How did you start working with the Rivals dev team, with the staff a lot more?
Um, so I first met George at Bigger Balk, and we played Edalus Dittos because I was like, "Hi, I'm the person that runs Arizona tournaments," and so
Hmm.
we talked for about an hour before the stream started
Yep,
because I was like
I
first on
love
stream.
George. Big George
Yeah,
fan.
easily approachable, amazing dude.
Hmm.
Um, but from there, I didn't meet Dan until GTX 1.
Ooh, okay.
And I still have pictures from that where, like, I met Dan and Trevor, and met George again, and
Hmm.
like so we spent time. I played Dan, talked to him because at that point, I think, yeah, at that point, Heatwave 1 had just happened like a week before.
Okay.
And so like I got to talk to Dan, got to go, join them for dinner with LPO and some of the
Hmm.
other Arizona people. And we talked and it was fun. And then when Heatwave 2 came around, because I was like, hey Dan, like, so check out my cool custom Forsburn skin.
Wait, what was it?
This
Oh,
would
it
be
was
great.
the one with the cape and everything.
Yeah, the Heatwave Forsburn, and like it was supposed to have an Arizona cape, but like, spriting an entire cape on like 200 plus sprites or whatever. It's insane. So I don't blame them for not wanting to give the cape, but like, so I was like, okay, but what if we had a compendium thing? Since I think so. I did $1,000 for the pop bonus out of my pocket, and I think I came up negative $1,500 after Heatwave. So I
Yeah,
was
that
like, hey Dan,
tracks. That tracks.
yeah, how could I get you to give me one of them skins that you give other tournaments?
So that
So
maybe I don't lose money this year. I've lost money
exactly.
running tournaments. I feel that heavy.
So from there, like Dan gave me the Arizona Forsburn skin. I ran a regional called Cold Snap, and Heatwave 2, Dan actually went to.
Okay.
Um, and he wrote a blog post about it. So like,
I
I
remember reading that. Yeah.
I got to, talk to him more, a little bit more, because, you're still running around and doing everything. And I was still competing in Heatwave 2. One thing that like I learned from Heatwave 2 after like I got a couple good wins and I just hit a wall. It's like I'm done competing in these
I was
tournaments.
about to say, when did you learn that lesson? Because I know that I cannot I do three things. I play, I do commentary, and I TO. And I've gotten to the point of I can do two of the three at any event, but I cannot do all three. And if the thing that I choose is TOing, I can only do one.
Exactly. I got ninth at that tournament, but like the ninth that place that I got, like when I lost in winners, I walked up to the TO desk and I go, Steven, because the other guy, the SAK guy's just named Steven too. I'm
Okay.
like, who am I playing in losers? He's like, you are playing MSB. And I just went,
No, I'm not. Do you hear me?
I played him and it was not even close to being close. I switched to Forsburn on the third game because I wanted to show off the cool skin that we got. And I was like, do you have your own skin in the game?
I may have lost this set, but I am in the video game now.
and then he proceeded to fare me into the blast zone 3 times and I lost. But after that tournament, I was like, okay, I am not TOing and running and playing Heatwave at the same time ever
Dude,
again.
I don't
Because I
even do it
also
for locals,
commentated.
let alone like regionals and nationals. That's crazy. So we've talked a lot about you TOing, and we've talked about like your job at Rivals and like how you've kind of worked into there. Let's talk about something else about Rivals. You're also a top 10 player in the game.
Yeah, I play the
We
Clairen.
haven't actually talked about your gameplay at all. How did you go from being a Smash 4 Lucas to being one of the best players in the video game? Of a different video game, I guess.
Um, so I mentioned before I was actually decent at Lucas. I had
Yeah.
some wins against good players.
Hmm.
I was barely passed up on the PR because of the Rewired debacle with the pools. So like that was my last active season too. That was actually another thing that spurned me from Smash, was seeing that affect everything.
Hmm.
Um, and so then I was like, okay, so I started playing Rivals more, and I lived with this guy named TSS, Toxic Shock Syndrome. He doesn't play Smash anymore, but he was one of the best Robs in the game.
Okay.
And he was my roommate. He went to U of A. Amazing guy. I met him through the guy that got me into Rivals. and we would play like every day. He would yell at me to stop landing with an aerial on a shield. I'm like, but I'm not always doing the same aerial.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Exactly. And I didn't get that. And then one day it clicked. One day I landed and grabbed him. And I did a tomahawk without realizing. And like I knew I was mixing up, and then like from there, like the real practice began. And
once you learned how to break that one habit.
Yeah, because like something clicked in my brain. I'm like, oh, that's what he means. And so I tried something different and it worked. I'm like, I have been ramming myself into this person and he's been getting mad for so long that he's almost stopped playing with me. And then before I knew it, because I did that one thing, I actually saw him sit up in his chair. And
oh shoot.
Yeah, we played for hours straight that day, and we continue to play every day, and I started getting better. And then once Rivals like what became a part of my life, I had started learning neutral and how to mix up things.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing was like I didn't play anyone in Rivals. So when Rewired came around, I actually had a really good set with Tandoori, even though I lost. And so I had good sets with him, and I had a okay set with Els, and then I had good friendlies with LBO because I never actually played him in bracket. And from there, I'm running tournaments now in Arizona, and I have the background in Smash 4, and I am the person that is introducing the game to people. So like, I don't want to play my main against them because like I've played the game before.
You just destroy them at that point, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm using my worst character against every person I teach the game with, and before I know it, it's no longer my worst character. And it became a thing where like as I taught the game to people, it was teaching myself too.
Sure, that's the thing a lot of people talk about is learning to verbalize and like really put into words like why does neutral work in that way, or like why does this punish game work in that way.
Yeah, it's like,
it's kind of a feeling to like, oh, I can explain and do it much better now.
Exactly. And it's like it slowly taught me how to play every character in the game, and I was playing it on a local level too. Like I'd play online sometimes, but like especially back then, online netcode, like there wasn't even a ping indicator back then. So like it was a crapshoot. You didn't know what you were getting. And
that's why I didn't play it as much back then. I didn't have a ton of local people to play with, and so the fact that you had a local scene was probably a very big deal.
Yeah, it was like I said, I was the Smash Fest house earlier. So I'd get people, I'd pull them aside, be like, let's play some Rivals today. And before I knew it, the Project M scene, which is actually credited in the Rivals like credits.
Is it?
There's special thanks to AZPM because
okay.
Yeah, if you didn't know, Z-Man, the guy that used to run AG Project M, he actually hosted the 2015 Evo 8-player invitational for Rivals and streamed it.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So
odd that as someone who's very connected with PM and Rivals, I just had no idea. Okay. That's really cool.
And to add to that, after I was running a couple tournaments after Rewired, he ran a Rivals side event up in Phoenix. It was a 2.5-hour drive from where I was, and I found out about it afterwards, after it happened.
Okay, so you didn't make the drive, but still.
I did not, but I did the next week. And because I convinced him to do it again. And I'm like, I'm going to win this tournament. And, they had the whole like Phoenix versus Tucson thing. I got off of work at Walmart and I drove up with this guy and with Casino Wolf. And we went to this tournament. It was a 2.5-hour drive. And I ended up playing against someone who was really good, named like Player 5 or something like that. Don't know why, like he was so good. I never saw him again, ever, in like PM or anything. He was like just a ghost.
He disappeared. Okay.
And I won that, and then I beat someone else, and then I beat Jesus, if you know who that is.
The DDD in PM.
Yes. So I beat him in winners finals. Yeah. So I ended up winning that tournament from winner's side. I reversed 3-0'd Jesus in grands. And from there it was just, I just kept doing the same thing, teaching new people the game, playing different characters, and just grinding and grinding and grinding. And by the time I went to bigger bulk, I had a really good set with Cups, and I had an okay set with LBO, but I was like nervous as all hell.
Sure.
Because I knew him. But like, so all these people got better at the game while I was running these
Yeah.
tournaments, and we would grind the game, we would play the game. We built this competitive scene around being patient and reacting to things because we played local more than pretty much any other scene in the entire world.
Oh yeah, no,
And
there was a point where again Jackie Peanuts and I would talk, and you'd be like, yeah, if like you want to learn stuff, sometimes you just watch the Arizona streams because not only do they have more locals than anywhere else, but they also stream all of them.
we have these tournaments every week. Whenever I would play a set, like I would watch those VODs that night. I would go to bed and be like, I need to wake up early. And then instead of that, I'd be watching on my phone the VODs of all my sets. And if I lost the set, it would be even more important for me to watch it.
Absolutely.
There was one tournament where Damn Danny 3-0'd me in winners finals.
Mhm.
And I walked outside the venue, not because I was angry, but I brought my phone with me and I studied the VODs, and I 6-0'd him in grands because
Holy
I walked
crap.
out there to study the VODs.
That's
And
dedication.
yeah, and that's the kind of scene that we had. Is we had people that pushed each other.
Hmm.
We still do. Like, we have a pretty active online scene actually, but like they just constantly learn and evolve, and they're smart people. I don't know how many people actually know me as a player, but I know way more about this game than a lot of people think I do. Because
Okay.
that's all I do is I study and I would commentate our locals and I would play the game.
Not only did you grow your local community, and that local community, it's very interesting to me that you've now talked about the same story twice. You've talked about how you grew your local community, and then that got you to TO regionals, and then TOA grassroots national, and that's what got you your job as the esports manager for Rivals. But you're also now talking about how you grew your local community and then started working at regionals and then grassroots nationals, and that's how you became a top 10 player at the game.
It's
It
cheating.
turns out that community building is what this is all about.
Yeah, it really is. It's honestly cheating because like you you build something that places don't have, so you have resources that they don't.
Mhm.
And it would have been one thing if I didn't play the game, but like I was building the community for myself just as much as I was for everyone else, you know?
Sure.
And it's like by getting these people into the game and putting Damn Danny next to me every week, I was now stealing his goodness and making it mine, and he was doing the same. Like
Yeah,
we grow off of each other.
you're building each other up, and Chompers and Plastic Dinos and everybody else. Yeah, and Zora. So I guess that leads into this. Looking to the future, like I'll ask one question to bridge into this, and that is with the release of Definitive Edition, do you have ideas on like what numbers are looking like? Are a lot of people are talking about like, hey, Rivals is definitely growing. Do we have proof of that? Do we have all that? And then also, now that Definitive is out, assuming we could have run stuff, or just like looking into the future, like what do you see as the futures of Rivals Esports right now?
So for the first question,
Mhm.
yes, definitely growing. I don't know the most recent numbers as of like the last month or
Sure.
so, but I know that at one point we did have the most online and concurrent players that we've ever had.
I saw that. Yeah.
Super cool. So we're definitely growing as a game, and I feel like as we improve netcode and all that fun stuff, especially on Switch too, like
Yep.
it's just going to continue growing. The interesting thing about esports future for Rivals lies with what I just said with the Switch and PC
Mhm.
options that we have, because it's going to be more up to TOs kind of deciding whether or not they're doing Switch or PC or a hybrid of the two,
Yeah.
which is something that we toyed around with, is having both available at tournaments. So that way, instead of renting 8 computers or bringing 8 Steam machines or something like that for a big tournament across the country, we just
Mhm.
have 4 of them or none of them, and then they're all on Switch. But like,
Well,
it
and
was something that we were toying with as the idea, and then we didn't have to make the decision
right.
because it didn't happen. But yeah, so like, there's the most tantalizing thing to me is to have a hybrid. So you have like half the setups be PC and half the setups be Switch. That way, people with special controllers get their controller. But then, as an organizer, what I think of is, man, Genesis happens,
Mhm.
and
What if
okay,
someone
so
makes top
man,
8 and they need to be able to use the other one, or like it gets to the point where you need it on stream, and I'm sure that's the kind of stuff that you were just about to bring up. Yeah,
Exactly. Like you
I'm
have
a
melee
TO. I feel it.
to a PRT or whatever,
Mhm.
and then you have alt that goes back to Switch, and it's like, well, how much more difficult is it to add a PC to that setup? Like if you did Rivals, then Melee, then Ultimate, you're switching between two inputs, right? You're just going like, okay, we're on a Switch, and then we switch to Melee, and then we go
And then
back
you
to
go
the
back
same
to the Switch
switch
for alt.
without having to unplug anything, like a giant tower or a Steam machine.
Well, and as a TO, that's what excites me about like running a regional or national is that you could say like, all right, wave 1, the ultimate area is ultimate, and then wave 2, it's now rivals because we can
Yeah,
just use the same things. Yeah.
and
Yep.
it's also a problem because I have seen while running Windjammers tournaments
Hmm.
on Switch, people will take those setups and go to the menu and switch it to Smash.
Oh
And
yeah, and
it turns into a Smash setup that you have to kick people off. And it
yep,
starts becoming an unwelcoming place to the people that wanted to play Windjammers.
that were there
And so
for Windjammers, and that's like what it was there for. No, that's 100% a
exactly.
thing.
Yeah,
We
like you
see
even
that.
if you have it like people there watching it and saying like, no, this is a rival setup, there's going to be people that come over and just switch it to Smash.
Last thing I wanted to ask you about before we do a Q&A is one of the things that I first learned about you, because I think the first time we met in person was Smash Camp. And something you did at Smash Camp, so for anybody who doesn't know, Smash Camp is a tournament in Arizona for Melee, PM, and Rivals. That it takes place at a campgrounds. Everyone hangs out. It's super homey vibes. Like it literally is you're camping and happen to be at a video game tournament.
Mhm.
SBS ran a, I'm gonna call it a rave. It wasn't a rave. Played DJ sets from his cabin that you could hear across the entire campground.
I don't think I did that.
Was that someone else?
That wasn't me.
Oh my god. Okay, there was a second person who also did that. But that does get me
Okay.
to what I was gonna say, which is you also are a DJ.
Yeah.
I want you to talk about DJing a bit. I know it's your like
Okay.
hobby outside of video games. What do you do with that?
So, before I got into competitive Smash, my
Mhm.
freshman year of college, and before that, I was listening to the music, to electronic music. But I started DJing my freshman year of college as like a hobby, as a side thing. And after about a year of getting used to, the software and all that stuff, I like submitted like mixtapes to a couple local places and I started getting gigs.
Okay.
Um, I have a SoundCloud and Mixcloud and all that stuff that's like not updated anymore.
Oh dang it! I was
But,
about to say like I can actually ask a guest to drop the SoundCloud.
but I have a YouTube channel that has the two sets that I did this summer because I was bored in quarantine. If you want that,
I watched one of those.
yeah, like I
Not like the
uploaded.
full thing, but I tuned in and out while I was like working on stuff at home.
Yeah, so my channel is just AZ_SBS. I sent it to you in a DM. If you want to send it to chat, you can. But so I DJ'd for up to 5 years straight, actually, working with every single major production company in Arizona. But I got a gig to open for Data Life and Clockwork, who know
Oh,
Clockwork
holy
now.
crap! Okay,
Yeah,
I know Clockwork. I'm
yeah,
not
he knows.
I'm not super into electronic music, but I listen to it like randomly. Every once in a while, I'll
Okay.
listen to some stuff. Yeah.
So back then, Clockwork was actually the opener for Data Life, and now Clockwork goes by RL Grime.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I've got photos with them. I've got like a bunch of paraphernalia all over the place.
Sure.
I eventually opened for Borgor, Kennedy Jones, Audion, DJ Sneak, Mac J. I played at this place called Rialto Theater in Tucson. I basically played at every big place that Arizona had, just doing shows for like tours that were coming in. And it was a hobby of mine all the way up until I started playing Smash, and then I realized that I needed to find a job because
Sure.
I just graduated college.
Mm-hmm.
So I did my last gig, which was opening for a person named Bijou. He's kind of on the up and up. once I started doing Smash, the
Mhm.
DJing went like this because I just stopped doing it. But the last that Waka Flocka show I remember very vividly because my girlfriend was there. I did the electro swing set, and after my set, she like needed to do homework. So I was like, yeah, just come backstage because it was the second stage, so there was no one like hanging out there. It was just us, and I was running the sound. I'm like, I
Mhm.
have to be here because I'm running the
I'm
sound.
working,
But
yeah.
I just sat there next to her, and she was doing homework, and I was on my computer. It was just like that's all we
The
did.
nerdiest rave ever. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the stage was still bumping. It's just like we just had nothing to do with it. We're like, yeah, it just wasn't our thing anymore.
Mhm.
And that's part of the reason I stopped doing it, I think.
That's
Plus,
fair.
like I always played Smash when I was growing up, so like when I found competitive, it was like a natural stepping stone to get into.
Yeah, absolutely. From Tech Balls, how do you feel or do you feel the workshop successfully pulled more people into the regular Rivals community? And did it meet expectations as far as growing the community and not making their own separate community?
I feel that overall, like it has been a net positive.
Mhm.
Having a separate community is important for them because of just the stark differences in how workshop is. One thing that I would like to see that they've been working on, according to like Geek and some other people, was like balancing their characters against balancing their characters against each other, because I feel that would really bring them together more. Because if I could pull out my Forsburn and fight someone's Olympia, I would and like not see a power difference like there is in general. Like
Mhm.
I feel like that would be the best bridge to the two communities, because there's stuff that the workshop community, I feel like they come from different games, a lot of them, because they're not, Rivals players. Like there's some that do both, but a good chunk of them came from different games. And I feel like there's the disconnect of your character needs some bullshit. Your character needs like there's stuff that's dumb on every character in Rivals, and that's okay because as long as the kit works around it well enough and you balance it against the other characters, it's
Mhm.
fine.
From MSB, if only one character was the entire top 8 at a Rivals tourney, what mirror would be the best to watch? The,
Um, Go ahead.
no, I was going to say, so like, this is a tournament that somehow biggest crowd Rivals has ever seen, and all top 8 is the same character. Who would you prefer it as?
So I look at it this way. I don't like Rivals dittos that are boring. Like if it's gonna be a neutral fest like Ori versus Ori, that sucks.
I
If
play
I'm
Ori and I
watching
don't want it to be all Oris.
exactly, I think easily Crag, Maple, Zetterburn. Those top three in that order. Crag first, Maple second, because Maple would just be a lightning blitz of moves, and Zetters would be shining like crazy, like workshop characters. And
I thought
Crag is
I
just
had
nuts.
Zetter as my number one, but I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, Zetter's on my top three for sure. But I think Crag just like there's something so enjoyable about watching them use each other's garbage to hit each other with garbage. It's just so fun.
Crag has a lot of people will describe Crag as the like point the stick at him and hit him. Like you can play Crag that way, but there's a lot of weird nuanced jank that gets involved. And when they start using other people's rocks to like reflect shards back into, like, it gets really crazy. I agree with that.
I think Crag is the character with the most advanced tech. And advanced tech being things that are like
You
you
think
could
so?
do. Yes, absolutely. Because
Huh.
there's so much that he can do that is almost useless, but it's not useless.
Okay,
There's
that is
so
different than
much.
I was thinking of, but okay.
Yeah, like, you watch like the MSBs and the ZBs, like just like do things, and some of it is like, okay, well, I can see how this works in a wide variety of things, but then you see his Pugipector, and you're like, why did you even figure that out? There's so much Crag can do that just like interacts with his pillar and with his rocks and with other Crag's pillars and other Crag's rocks. That ditto, watching T-Box versus MSB like that is funny. I enjoy it. It's just a hoot every time, and I think that would be the best
I feel like
enjoyment
you
I
see
could
the
ever
most
have.
amount of really dumb stuff starting to happen. If you got to choose the first major that returns after COVID is defeated, what would it be?
Heatwave.
Oh, okay. Other than Heatwave, because you run it.
Okay, Riptide.
Actually, Riptide was my answer too.
Big drink.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm
Yeah,
really glad we were able to just chill and talk and learn a little bit more about like your experience in going through the esports world.